All right, so we're going to get into these fan Q&A / hot takes, see what the Give and Go viewers have to say to us. And first off will be our boy Asher. Let's see what he has to say.
Hi, Reynoso Soltero, Asher here from Goa. First of all, love your work. Thank you for producing such great football content for everyone who watches you. Great stuff. And my question to you all is about Donny van de Beek actually. At the point in time, he was such a good player, used to love watching him week in, week out at Ajax. But ever since the transfer from Ajax to Manchester United, he has completely fallen off the radar. And I thought that after his loan spell at Everton, he would have a chance under Erik ten Hag, but that has actually not happened. So, what would you do if you were Donny van de Beek? Like, what would your next move be? To stay and fight for a place at Manchester? Or to leave, bro? Ask me, I think he should leave. I don't think he has a future at Manchester United.
I think Asher got this one spot on. Yeah. I think he got it spot on. I think he has no business being involved with Manchester United. I think it's time he goes seek out success elsewhere. But it's kind of crazy that he really hasn't found a home there, despite his old head coach, who he thrived so well under, Erik ten Hag, joining the club. Just hasn't been able to find minutes, hasn't been a go-to option for him. And now that Manchester United is actually having success, there's even less of a reason to keep him. Ship that man off, man. Ship him off. If anything, send him back to the Eredivisie so he can maybe find himself once again, man. Because at his peak, which was early in his career, he was so fun to watch, man. He was so fun, so creative, a lucrative player on the pitch, and a crucial part to what was an incredibly entertaining Ajax side to watch during their Champions League run. I hope he can find that form again, man, because like Asher said, was so good, so good, but his time has come to seek a new future.
Yeah, man, I do think he needs to go. Completely agree there with both you and Asher, but man, do I hate it when players go back home after a failure. It's tough because what does that ultimately mean? That you couldn't hack it at the place you were at? Was it just a bad environment? I don't know, maybe you were a little homesick. Was the conditions not set up right for you? I think a lot went wrong for Donny, to be completely honest. And I honestly think it starts with just being so good in that Ajax system. Because that's ultimately how I saw Van de Beek when he made that big run with Ajax, was a system player. Because in my opinion, there were so many other standouts in that team, and they weren't named Donny. I'll be completely honest. I mean, Frankie de Jong, Dusan Tadic, Hakim Ziyech, De Ligt at the back. But for me, Donny was a good team player. So I found it a little surprising that Manchester United bought him, especially at that time, because he was not a standout for the Ajax team. He was a good player. So I just think it was a wrong move from the start, to be completely honest. And, going to a team like Manchester United where it's like cutthroat, they're trying to get back into the top 3, top 2 of the Premier League, and low-key doing it, especially as of recently, it's just a really tough situation to go to, especially when you're used to, a very Dutch type of system that Ajax have you play. And it worked. One thing I will say, though, I'm surprised that Ten Hag hasn't helped him, kind of achieve what he once was at Ajax, but I think it's honestly just beyond Ten Hag's doing at this point, and I think that shows you kind of the level that Van de Beek is at. So yeah, ultimately, go back home. I honestly think that's the only place he can go to, because who else would realistically get him? Unless he goes to like a, more of a mid-tier type of team, like in Spain or Italy, for example.
Liga MX.
Shit. Tigres. Yeah.
The Tigres or MLS, baby. Maybe MLS.
Oh, no, he could fit anywhere in the MLS.
Fit in anywhere.
Here, so, yeah.
But he might be one of those players that searches for a form that he just never obtains at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared of.
Good
so
Lord,
I just want to wish him good luck, because what a horrible couple of years it's been, honestly, just for career-wise.
Donny van de Beek.
Jesus.
All right, next up, we got Teddy.
Question for Reynoso and Soltero.
What's up?
Out of the two wingers, who do you think will have a better career? Rafael Leao or Rodrygo?
Ooh, that's a good comparison, because they're both...
Yeah, that actually is that's a tight matchup.
Yeah, because they're both on the rise for sure, but have they really, truly broken out? Obviously, Leao, they have in their own way, but not as far as like European stardom. Not either of them, not yet.
Yeah,
Rodrygo has had huge, cold moments for Madrid in some of the biggest games, Champions Leagues, one of the biggest stages, right? And he's done it. Whereas Leao was a crucial piece to Milan's offense when they won the Scudetto last year. So they both have had really good individual success at two really big clubs in two respective big European leagues. So how do you rate that?
It's tough to gauge because I think Leao has had a bigger responsibility and role to fulfill at AC Milan than Rodrygo. Rodrygo's gotten away with just disappearing in games, especially on that right wing at times, man. He can just disappear completely for some matches, but he gets away with it because Real Madrid is so successful. Whereas Leao can oftentimes be the sole initiator for AC Milan offensively and the sole opportunity maker for them. And he's been able to do that successfully for the past couple of years now, whereas Rodrygo, like you said, kind of just shines and spurts so far. But you throw in the quality of teams that they're playing against, the leagues that they're in, it's not a drastic difference, but there is a difference between being at Real Madrid and being at AC Milan.
Yeah.
So is that difference enough to outweigh the performances? I don't know. I think if Leao makes a big move to an elite club, then I might actually go with Leao. But right now, I do think Rodrygo is better set up because he's at fucking Real Madrid. And if he just finds consistent form, he'll be playing against the best teams in the world. He'll be winning big trophies, and he'll have a more successful career overall.
Bro, that is like the perfect analysis. Rodrygo's set up. He's set up for success because he's already in rotation at one of the biggest clubs in the world, whereas Leao is more of a focal point for his own team, right? He's starting every single game. He is the preferred option out on that left side for Milan, whereas Rodrygo, low-key, I think Ancelotti prefers him on the bench rather than starting on the pitch if Vinicius, Benzema, and Valverde are all healthy. So right now, I would say Leao, but man, Rodrygo is set up to just have a really good career. So who's going to have the better career at the end of the day? What a question.
Teddy got us on this one.
What a question.
Teddy got us on this one.
If I had to pick.
I'm going Rodrygo, bro.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Leao because if he could consistently score 15 to 20 goals a season and he gets that big move and still continues to do that, I think it could be a really big piece. Whereas Rodrygo, I feel like if he was like a Neymar or a Vinicius, he'd be more prominent in Madrid's squad, but he isn't yet. Meaning, I think Rodrygo's missing something, whereas Leao is an out-and-out starter and winning titles. So I'm going to go Leao. Will have the better career, but God, that's so tight.
What's up, Give and Go?
What's up,
My
brother?
name's Luis Mello. I'm a huge fan. I love the podcast. I love your TikToks. I love the content you post.
Yeah, keep going.
Keep up the good work. My question to you is this. In your guys' opinion, who are some of the most underrated football players of all time? Players that you wish got more praise, more attention than what they ended up getting. That is my question to you. I hope you guys have a lovely day. Keep up the good work. Huge fan, as I said. And one other thing. Viva Mexico!
We've got our friend Jonathan up next. Let's hear it, bro.
Hey Reynoso, hey Soltero.
What's
there
up,
have been
bro?
many underrated players such as Di Maria, Rakitic, David Villa. I'm just wanting to know what you guys think is the most underrated player of all time.
No, shout out my boy Luis Melo. Thank you for that love, for real, man. Appreciate the support a ton. But the question was, who is the most underrated player of all time? Fuck, man.
Gotta think about this.
Yeah. I'm going to look at it from the scope of the all-time greats. And which of the all-time greats doesn't get talked about as much as others? I think I might say Franz Beckenbauer.
Okay.
That's a name you don't often hear on talk shows, on
That's
sports
so
debates. But yet, when you look at top 10 lists of the greatest players to ever grace a football pitch, he's consistently a part of that list. The greatest, if not one of the greatest German players of all time. And from what I've read, possibly the most versatile player we've ever seen. Was a center back in his time, a defensive player, yet racked up so many offensive statistics and goals and assists and everything. Filled up the stat sheet despite being in a position that was not meant to fill up stat sheets. And overall was a winner, 3 Champions Leagues, 1 World Cup, and 2 Ballon d'Ors. That's insane, man. Any type of player that accumulates that sort of silverware would be talked about and highly regarded in today's day and age. But yet Franz Beckenbauer, just doesn't really get that type of love when you compare it to the all-time greats, man. So for me, he's got to be one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated player of all time.
I don't know if I can think of like the greatest underrated player of all time, but I feel like every region has a really underrated player. And they go through phases for sure. In Liga MX, the first name that comes to my mind, Ruben Sambuesa. A player that was just so dirty, but so offensively involved. And he was a journeyman. He just, especially towards the end of his career after he left America, he just hopped from Liga MX team to Liga MX team, but was still a crucial part to every team he went to's offense. Such a good player and so fun to watch. South America for a time in the mid-2000s and early 2010s, Jorge El Mago Valdivia. A player who never really went to Europe, but was lauded as one of the, just craftiest, dirtiest midfielders in South America. But will any European or honestly even Mexican or American fan ever say the name Jorge Valdivia with love? Probably not, honestly. Like seriously, like unless you're Chilean or you actually saw him play, you'll probably just never give him that credit. And then thinking in Spain, I feel like every league has just a really underrated player that either plays with a really mid-tier, low-tier club, but just is a baller, man. The first thing that comes to my mind is a player in La Liga, now plays for Villarreal, José Luis El Comandante Morales. In the latter stage of his career, so it's hard to see him, have those same highlights that he once did, but he's a Levante player at heart. And, dude, his time at Levante, one of the just filthiest, most direct type of players, but he's so interesting because he's skinny, lean, and lanky, but he was so good on the ball, man. But he was at, no disrespect, he was at Levante. So we got no credit, man. Like nothing. Unless you were a Spanish commentator or a Levante fan, you probably have no fucking clue what I'm talking about. But he was so fun to watch. So I feel like there are a lot of underrated players out there that just are true ballers and just know how to play the game of football at a really fun level.
All right, next up we have Sean.
What's up, Give and Go? My name is Sean from Valencia. I'm a local fan. I've been a Valencia fan since 1903. And my hot take, which I hope you guys feature, is that Cavani is extremely overrated. He is ruining my club. We used to be a big European club. Now we're this close to being relegated. All thanks to him. He's extremely overrated, and I think very few people are talking about this. So I hope you guys use your platform in the best of ways and try to show this opinion to people, which I don't think should be a hot take. I think everybody should agree. But thank you guys. Hopefully you feature this and keep doing what you're doing.
That's Sean, bro.
Sean. Interesting.
That's our boy Sean.
Really interesting.
Yeah, man. Sean
looks really familiar, bro.
That boy Sean, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, Valencia fan who's in the mud right now, bro.
Yeah.
In the mud, man. Mud. Maybe some quicksand if you want to call it that, man. They're sinking hard right now.
Yeah.
Edison Cavani, Sean has been a big, very outspoken about his hate towards Cavani and everything that he entails, everything he represents in world football. Valencia goes on to sign him, and what do they see? Absolutely nothing, brother. Nothing.
But isn't that expected, though? Like, what did Valencia realistically think? He's always been injured in the latter stage of his career. It's understandable. He's just unlucky with his body ever since he's basically turned like 30, man. He hasn't aged well, but it's not Cavani's fault. Cavani's prime, man, was so fun to watch, man.
It was so long
El
ago,
Matador.
man.
El Matador.
It was so long ago.
But it was.
God.
But he's had so much success. The only thing one thing that does suck, but I do think it's just a little bit unlucky. He just doesn't really have any titles, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He was with that Uruguayan squad in 2010 that went to the semifinals, and he was a big part of that team. And then beyond that, he was what made Napoli really competitive, especially paired up with Marek Hamšík, man. That duo was so deadly in Italy, but they just didn't have the midfield and the defense that they do now, man. And so Cavani was just there at the wrong fucking time. It's not his fault because he was consistently one of the better scorers in Italy. So much so that when PSG finally got a little bit of cash, who do they get? Well, they get Edinson Cavani to be the number one striker alongside Zlatan Ibrahimovic. It was Cavani Cavani that PSG went for, not any other striker. And I think that shows you how good he was in his prime. Latter stage of his career is just a completely different story. But again, I don't think it's his fault. So, Sean, I disagree with you, buddy.
I don't know. Yeah, he's an enigma, man. This fucking Sean guy and bro. Yeah, he went to the wrong team for sure. He shouldn't be in Europe anymore. I think. I don't think he has the talent for it anymore. I think he should join every single other South American giant of the past 10 years and go back home, brother.
Yeah.
At least go to Liga MX, try MLS, come back to the Americas, my friend. What are you doing up there nowadays? And given if Valencia ends up getting relegated, that's just a fucking stain on Cavani's fucking resume, man.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
That would be a terrible way to end his European stint, would be with what was a lackluster Manchester United squad as well.
Yeah.
Being there before their rise. And then if the same thing happens with Valencia, being there during their downfall, and then they eventually rise back up to the top.
Yeah.
Cavani would be seen as the tank commander, as they would say, to guide a team to fucking purgatory. All right, we got Angel next.
My hot take is United maybe coming back to win the league this year. I mean, they've been in decent form. City and Arsenal are like right there, and well, United's also right there. So I would say that maybe. That's a hot take for me anyway.
Props to my guy Angel for sending that clip in. Man United's back.
Low key, it's a hot take for sure, but the Premier League title race might be a 3-team race. And it might be Manchester United as that third team, bro. Because when you look at the table, somehow,
bro.
they're right there.
Do you remember that loss to Brentford
Yeah.
early in the season, bro?
Yeah.
To say what you just said, bro.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying.
God damn, but they're
It's
not that far back. It's not like even like 8 points. It's like 5 points or something like that.
I think it's like 5 points. Obviously, Arsenal don't have a game in hand.
Yeah. 3 to City, 5 to Arsenal now.
Okay,
because
something
City
like
tied?
that. Yeah. It's there, though. It's completely there. It's within 10 points, which is my margin to decide if you're in it.
Oh, they're absolutely.
And so 100% United are right there. And the way the Premier League is going right now, Arsenal and City are capable of dropping points.
Imagine, dude.
If United just stay consistent,
Imagine.
keep winning, I think they can get even closer.
Dude, that would be a ridiculous. When was the last time we saw a three-team title race in the Premier League? It's been a minute.
Whoa,
It's been Liverpool, Man City for like the past 5 years now, man. A third team, and that third team being Manchester United,
Wow.
would make it so much more entertaining and would be crazy though. Just given the way they started the season, bro, it was awful.
Yeah.
Awful. And to end up as an actual contender, that's Ten Hag, baby.
That's 10 of
And who they get rid of?
Right, Ronaldo, man. That's what I'm saying. That all that, dude, so much drama at the beginning, and everybody thought, me included, that, oh, this is just typical United shit. This is what they've been doing for the last 5 years. They cannot focus on the game, right? Whether it's the Glazers, Ronaldo drama, the coaching drama, there was just so much going wrong for this club, but they've literally turned it around full 180 this season. So, my God, if we get a 3-team race, bro, let's go.
All right, let's go with Enrique.
What is up, The Give and Go?
What's
My
up,
name
brother?
is Enrique. That way I put a face to the name. What's going on, Reynoso?
He's been in our live streams before.
What's up, Soltero? Boludo. You look good in that jersey, bro. And
Hey, man,
what's
watch
going on
it.
to the man, the myth, the magician, producer Rudd. Now, here's my question,
Hey.
guys. Diego Coca has been announced as Mexico's head coach from here up until the next World Cup. Whether he stays or not, I don't know, but that's what it is.
Yep.
I don't care.
Yep.
You know, he's a good coach.
I feel like he's here.
And that's kind of my question. I already hear negative talk, and he's barely been appointed. And it always happens with anybody that the Mexican Federation announces, whether it's us fans or Mexican media or sometimes both, talking smack about who gets in this position. So that's my question. Why do you guys think this is? I don't see it with anybody else. I see it more inclusively with the Mexican media and the Mexican fans themselves. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Y arriba el give and go.
I like Enrique, man.
Yeah, dude, I love his energy. Holy shit, he could easily jump on the pod. Easily. Dude, Diego Coca was at the Chivas Pumas game. Yeah. And apparently he's been going on a little bit of a tour, man, already, just showing up to multiple Liga MX matches. You know I like to hear that. That makes makes my ears perk up.
Yeah, right.
That makes me happy to hear. And I completely agree with Enrique to start off that Every single time any manager of any orientation gets hired, from the get-go, it's criticism. From the get-go, it's negative talk. That's just the Mexican media, man. One of the most toxic media outlets in the Americas, brother.
I think so. Yeah, no, at the end of the day, that's what I have to say is I think Mexicans, as fans of the sport of football, just really, really harsh. I really do. You even see it here in the States, man. Like, it's, you know, kind of nonstop trash talk. But I think that's just the culture of it, right? You grow up with it. You grow up speaking the sport that way. And you just continue that, you know, into your 20s and your 30s, and you just become that. You pass it down to your kids, and that's just how it is. I think in Mexico, it's more of a culture. Now, here's the thing: do I like it? No, I wish it was different, bro. Low key, it is actually one of the reasons why I started, or why I wanted to start this podcast with you guys, because I just like talking about football in a completely different manner, rather than the focal point being very toxic. So 100%, man. I think the Mexican media is just so critical, so harsh, so toxic. But I'm trying to change that with this podcast, man. Absolutely. And I think we are. I think we're getting somewhere. But, man, do we have a long way to go to change an entire country's perspective?
Yeah, we got to get Enrique on the pod to change it, bro. But back to the topic of Diego Coca and his relation to that. Like I said, honestly, one of the biggest things that will determine whether Coca is a success or not is how he manages the Mexican media. We saw it essentially bring down Tata Martino, and he ended up being a completely different man at the end than what he was at the start. If Coca, the way I've seen it so far, can just stand tall amidst the negative avalanche of Mexican media that he's going to receive these next 4 years, then the fans will respect him for it. It's almost, although it's very harsh, I can also see why they're that way, because it's like a litmus test to see if you're truly about it, if you're truly built for the Mexican head coaching job. If you surpass fans' expectations and if you step up and prove them wrong, they will respect you for it. And not just that, they'll give you incredibly toxic praise on the opposite end of the spectrum. Wow. They'll hail you as a king. They'll worship you. They'll give you everything you want. We've seen in the past with past coaches like Miguel Herrera, how much love he got for his stint with the national team back in 2014, and how people to this day were hoping that he would take over the job in 2022, when you really look at it objectively, might have not been the best move. But because of what he did, people were backing him no matter what. Coca could become that if he has a really good 4 years and stands tall.
But, dude, I almost don't trust this whole 4-year process, because, as you already said, Martino had such a successful start for Mexico. Coca could do the same thing. What if he wins Nations League? Yeah. You know, which is not a difficult thing to do. Let's be honest, right?
It's different now than it was 4 years ago.
That is very true. Yeah. That's very true. But I could see Mexico just, you know, taking it to these teams who maybe might not be as either prepared or driven as Mexico, especially in this post-World Cup early stage. I could see Coca having a lot of immediate success. Maybe they have a really good Gold Cup this year too, bro. So it'll be the same thing. I'm not going to even trust these first 2 years, bro. But I think for me, if Coca's still here, the Copa America is going to be it for me. I'm going to put a lot of pressure on Mexico to have a really good tournament that year, because that's it, man. It's going to be in the U.S. It's going to be against top-tier South American talent and top-tier CONCACAF talent. That's the tournament to go off on. And if imagine if Mexico go to a semifinal in the Copa America, bro. I think that would be the biggest game for Mexico in years, simply because of how poor the World Cup was for Mexico. So, dude, these next 4 years, low-key, might be one of the most memorable Mexico journeys to the World Cup that I probably have ever experienced because of the recent history.
Let's go, bro. It's
going to be insane, bro.
That'd be insane.
It's going to be insane.
Man. I want to see it.
And if it's the opposite, where they get out of the group stage in the Copa America, bro. How sad would that be, man? Holy shit.
All right. Let's move on to the next one, man. Let me hear what my boy Antonio has to say.
What's your guys' take on Julian Araujo going to FC Barcelona from the Galaxy? He was our right back. I just want to know your thoughts on it.
Julian Araujo, now set to go to Barcelona and progress his career from LA Galaxy to fucking FC Barcelona. A huge move for the Mexican, but for me, honestly, kind of surprising, because I don't know if I've ever seen him as Barca material. I'm going to be honest with you. Being a Mexico fan, He's very good. He's solid.
He's so solid.
But I don't know if he's that. But kind of like a Serginho Dest type of situation, he'll probably get the opportunities. And this is a make it or break it type of moment for the youngster, because if he stands out and becomes a really solid option for Barcelona, they could have not one, but two great Araujos in that back line.
Yeah, absolutely. But, dude, I'm honestly shocked by this. When I saw that he was going to Barca, I was like, what? He's so solid. But, you know, the cliche is you have to be a passer at Barcelona. And I've never really considered Julian Araujo to be a pass-first type of right back. He's incredibly physical and very defensive, and he's very good at that type of defensive job that he's set out to do for LA Galaxy in that back line. But is he going to be really effective going forward? I'm going to say no, just off the bat. Now, if he really takes this opportunity to develop his game, then he already has incredible, impeccable defense and a really good physicality to his game. If he can couple that with really good on-the-ball skills, get better at going forward, well, then it's a different story. I think Araujo can be very, very good. But to go immediately from the state that he's in with LA Galaxy to Barcelona, I get a little disheartened by it, man, because, you know, as of recently, a lot of players that go straight from the MLS to a really, really big European team hasn't really been working, man. Zach Steffen had an incredible year with Columbus when he was still there. Gets a move to Manchester City, and now he's, you know, kind of just losing out of favor. He was the backup for a while. Now he's out on loan, and he's doing all right there. So it doesn't look like he's ever going to have any sort of future at the top-tier level in Europe, at least nowhere near the future right now. Gabriel Slonina had a really good year with Chicago Fire, gets the move to Chelsea, and he's already looking for a loan this coming season. It's just not really working out there. So I could see a similar thing kind of happening with Araujo, because usually American players who have success in Europe basically start in their youth academies there, right? They'll be here until they're like 15, 14, and then they'll move to Europe at a really, really early age. I think it's really hard to go from professional MLS to like professional Barcelona, who are top of the league in La Liga. So he's got a hell of a job cut out for him, but I wish him the best of luck.
Biggest test to see if he's about it, man. At a young age, this is going to be a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of those bright lights on him. But if he can step up, this would be huge for his career.
Huge.
I see him, though, at most becoming like a rotational player. Like maybe being a guy to fill in a fullback position when it's needed. But I don't know if I can just see him kind of solidifying a starting position with Barcelona, because it's like even like a Kevin Alvarez going to Barcelona would surprise me.
Yeah.
You know, like the fact that it's Julian Araujo just really took me, like you said, kind of is shocking, honestly. But you know what? As a Mexican who wants to see Mexican players go to Europe, I don't mind the move at all. Yeah. I'm all for it. If it's too much pressure, then fine. Let's find that out. Let's see what the fuck happens. But the fact that the move was finally facilitated and made able to happen, I see as an overall pro. And I'm excited to follow his journey now and see what can he do at FC Barcelona. Next up, we got Isaac, who, man, looks like he's at fucking work again, man.
Hell
we got
yeah.
people. Yeah, hell yeah, bro.
Working, man. Let's go.
Let's hear it, bro.
I have a question for both of y'all, and my question is, are we going to expect to see you in the Houston versus Austin match that's happening next month? And because it would be a tense game to see for our home opener, and hopefully we win. And if you do come, hopefully it's not a small crowd as y'all say it is. But yeah, no, love y'all, and soltero, arriba, el Atlético.
Vamos, los colchoneros.
Made a point to say that the Game and Go has been critical of Houston Dynamo's attendance.
It's bad, man. It's really bad. The stadium's nice.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's a really cool football-specific stadium right in the heart of downtown Houston.
Damn.
It's dope, man. And there's like a monorail that goes right past it. So if you're somehow on those stops, you can get a direct trip to the Houston Dynamo Stadium, bro. And it's really cool. I think it holds like 20,000 people. Damn. And it's really tight too. Like it's two-tiered, and even on the highest tier, it's so vertical that you get a perfect view of the pitch. The stadium's dope, bro. But I think the most I've ever seen it was like a playoff game.
No.
And even then, it was like 75%. Bro.
Oh.
Yeah. So imagine a regular season game, man.
Oh.
I think a
that
regular
Texas
season
Heat, man.
And that Texas. Oh, that's even worse.
Fuck.
Don't even mention that, bro, because people will
Damn.
not go out. I think I've seen like 50% on a regular season game.
Shit.
50%, bro. It's
But
tough.
maybe this season's different.
Maybe, maybe, man.
Maybe they're able to make something happen, man. Hey, I would love to go for the Austin FC versus Houston matchup.
It would be dope.
Definitely trying to follow MLS way more intensely than I did last season. So I would love to go. I would love to check out Houston Stadium. Maybe we can get involved give and go wise.
That'd be cool.
Show up to the pitch. Maybe
Really cool.
ask some fans some questions. Maybe we see our boy Isaac there.
Oh, yeah.
Talk some shit with him, but share a fucking beer, man. Next up, we have Yamin. I believe is how you say it.
Hey Reynoso, hey Soltero.
Barca fan.
My hot take is that La Liga has always been and still is the best league in the world because Premier League is slowly becoming the Super League. Every club is now just spending unlimited money. A financial rule doesn't seem to exist there. What's your take on the Premier League becoming this buy everyone kind of a league?
I kind of see his point because maybe organically, La Liga is the best league.
If I had to choose a country to start my career in, I'd choose Spain.
Hold up with that.
I would.
No, hold up.
I would.
Hold up. Hold up.
Yeah, I do. I kind of agree because
you want to be at like Elche
to start off
instead of like Southampton?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
No, I do.
No, you don't.
I do because because the only thing La Liga's missing right now are good clinical players on the offensive end of the pitch. If every team had just one true good striker or just one good winger, anybody that's clinical, La Liga would actually be a lot closer to the Premier League quality-wise because the way that they approach the game defensively, you saw it with Mallorca firsthand, and especially midfield-wise, I think it's truly top tier. They teach the game right there, and then beyond that, the scouting that they do, they get like-minded players or players that have the potential to be like-minded. I mean, look at like a player like Pate Cis with Rayo Vallecano.
Yep.
You know, just player from Senegal, but he's got that Spanish in him. And Rayo Vallecano as a club bring that out in him and get the best out of him. And then from there, I feel like Cis could go to any league after this and be really successful because there's an emphasis on technique. Whereas, like, I feel like in the Premier League, obviously it's incredibly technical, like, my God. But I feel like a team like Southampton, I think, does lack a little bit in the midfield. A team like Nottingham Forest literally had no midfield presence. They just didn't have it. Whereas a team like Mallorca, Rayo Vallecano, even Elche, at least try to have a midfield presence in their approach to the game. So I can kind of see his point. La Liga is still an incredible league. I just think they miss as far as the clinical players that they have, because they really don't have any, bro. The Premier League's so offensive, and teams in La Liga can't really score that much, but the fluidity and the style that they play is still so entertaining.
Yeah, I'm going to go from the financial perspective when it comes to which league's better. I just think Premier League has a drastic edge. I mean, he mentioned it himself, how it's become a super league. So the angle I was kind of getting from our friend there is that, yeah, maybe in what's taught at the core of it, what's at the core of every single league, La Liga is the best league in that sense. What they're teaching, what they host, the systems they have in place. But then you take into account money, and that's where the Premier League just completely overrides the other league. Yeah. But the basis, the starting point, is better with La Liga. I can agree with that because we've seen the talent that Spain can develop in every single sector of the pitch, but there's no denying the greatness of the Prem right now.
Oh,
man.
for sure.
No matter what if it's money, if it's whatever you want to call it, if it's fair or not, the Prem is the top dog. And if anything, I'm getting a little tired of people getting carried away with the greatness of Real Madrid and Barcelona because two incredible teams does not outweigh how poorly 3-20 is in La Liga in comparison to the Premier League, where to me it goes 1-8. maybe even 1 to 10, and then it starts dropping after 10. It's crazy. It's nearly half the league that's top tier.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at teams like Brentford, Fulham, Brighton, 3 like low-key teams in the top 10 right now because they absolutely fucking deserve it and are playing incredible football, not just against the lower level teams of the Premier League, but also the top, man, getting upsets against a team like Chelsea, against a team like Tottenham, Manchester United, and like we saw this past weekend with Nottingham Forest, tying against Manchester City.
That's the funny part, is that even though Nottingham don't play necessarily a really stylistic type of football, they're doing better than their counterparts in Spain against top opposition. And I think that just completely agrees with your point there. The Premier League is the best league in the world despite what they teach in Spain. And yeah, it's top dog, brother. You can't deny it. It's so entertaining and it's so competitive.
We got Aaron here who submitted a question last time we did this. So I'm excited to see what he has to say now.
Hey guys, how's it going? My next question is, when did you start to consider that either Messi or Ronaldo were the greatest players of all time?
I'll go with Messi when I started considering him as the greatest of all time. For me, it was the 2014 World Cup when he went off with Argentina, took him to the final and eventually lost. But that was the moment where, up until that point, I was a little bit of a doubter, man. A little bit of a Messi hater, if you want to call it. Where I just didn't really see it at the time. This was young Reynoso, man. Innocent Reynoso, honestly.
Yeah.
I was getting caught up.
Naive.
Honestly, most of the media outlets, too, weren't as pro-Messi as they are now because Messi has proven everyone wrong. But at the time, I remember there was still a lot of people doubting his greatness despite everything that he had achieved. And for me, that 2014 World Cup was one where it completely flipped me. Completely. And once I got flipped, I was like, okay, well, let's talk about him as potentially being one of the greatest players of all time. I know that in general mainstream media, the general consensus was that that conversation started once they defeated Manchester United in the Champions League a few years before that. But I really wasn't there for that one, wasn't as conscious as I am now. For me, it was the World Cup in 2014. And on the flip side, Ronaldo, when I was considering him, it had to be when he won those multiple back-to-back Champions League trophies. Yeah, that era is definitely when I was thinking he's on track at the very least to be the greatest player of all time.
Yeah. This is an interesting question that I've never thought about, honestly, because what I just now realized is there was never a moment throughout my football watching career where I was like, oh, Messi's the greatest player of all time. It's been like a really gradual, maybe even subconscious realization that I've had with this question. The way that I've always approached it is I always look at these weaker teams and I love to see how they approach playing big teams. So obviously, I caught a lot of Barcelona games early on between like 2010, 2014, 2015, that type of tiki-taka Barcelona era when the Spanish national team was also on fire. And Messi was such a prominent point of that Barcelona team. So I saw him basically dominate Spanish team after Spanish team and just go make deep Champions League runs and have moment after moment after moment, whether it was in El Clásicos, in Copa del Rey finals, in big Champions League games when he like dropped Jerome Boateng. And I realized, again, just gradually seeing so many big moments strung together. All right, Messi's the best player on the pitch right now. What can we do against him? It wasn't even like a realization. It just was for me. I was like, Messi's the best on the pitch. What is he going to do? And that's just how I've kind of approached Messi's greatness. It was really gradual. And yeah, there was never really a big moment because he's had so many moments. And what other player realistically has had those type of moments throughout a decade, bro, other than maybe Cristiano Ronaldo? And I think that consistency is what made me realize his greatness.
All right, another give and go favorite, Santiago Flores, sending us a video from Mexico. Let's see what he's got.
Hey guys, how are you doing? So my question is, how would your dream football career look like? At which club would you guys make your debut? Where would you become legends? How would you perform with your national team?
Whoa.
And finally,
Holy
at which
shit.
club would you retire? Thank you guys.
Oh my God. What a question.
Oh my God.
I would drop out of school at 15. High school. Living in Texas, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to dedicate my life to football. I don't need a high school diploma.
Yeah.
I'd drop out and I'd go all the way to New Zealand and play for Auckland City to start my career.
Oh, okay.
I'd do that. Do well there. Go to Mexico. Play in Liga MX for a little bit.
Okay.
Then I would go. Then I would go to North Africa. All right, for a couple years, play for maybe Algerians with Setif. All right.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna go to Asia. I'm gonna go to the J League. I'm gonna play in Japan. Then I'm gonna go back down to South America. Go back to Latin America. Maybe play in Argentina. Maybe Brazil.
We're in your prime now, or?
Yeah, let's say I'm in my mid-20s right now.
Prime, okay.
All right, so it's been a decade, and I've just been playing all around the world. Then, finally, once I'm like 26, 27, then I make the trip to Europe, and I'll play anywhere. I'll play in Cyprus. I'll play in Portugal. But I won't play like in a big league, and I end up having a really low-key but journeyman career. That's my ideal career.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a career full of merit, a career full of...
Yeah, it's like football first, not legacy.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And that's where you would retire?
And I would retire. No. Okay, yeah. So I would play in Europe till I'm like, 33, 34. And then finally, I would play in the
Bundesliga.
I would play in the country of my birth and end my career in the MLS.
Ah, fairy tale ending. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be a journeyman, and maybe I win maybe I get like
you get a cup.
Maybe a cup, or maybe like a finals appearance somewhere.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking for.
Wow.
Very low key career.
And nationally, USA. Because you said you would be here till you're 15. By that point, you would have to elect your. Are you a dual nat? Maybe like USA and Nigeria or something?
I wouldn't I wouldn't consider Mexico. I would only consider a USA invitation. No.
What if it got you from a young age? Maybe
there's no way. I don't have any Canadian in me.
Damn, okay, no, that'd be a very beautiful career, man.
Yeah,
that really would be something to truly be proud of. If you had over 10 teams in your fucking career,
right?
list.
And I would have
Jesus
played on every
Christ.
continent.
Yeah. I'm gonna cross the street and I'm gonna go start at the Austin FC Youth Academy.
Oh, okay.
Right? Local. Get my roots started there, and since I'm in the MLS, I'm gonna more easily facilitate a move over to Europe. And I'm going to have a prominent start to my career in Austin FC. I would love to be a youngster in the MLS. Off the bat, just a thunderstorm of greatness that European teams see. And thus, I go to one of the greatest stepping stones there is in Europe, RB Salzburg, man. Catch me in Austria for just a little bit. I'll give 2 years of my career there to just essentially put myself on the map, and then take me straight to my beautiful, beautiful club of Liverpool in Premier League from age 24 to say 30.
Damn,
I want to have 6 straight years of pure greatness, like a Sadio Mane, for example. 6 straight years at Liverpool, just being the fucking guy, man. Give me that. And then from 30 to the rest of my career, take me over to Liga MX, man.
Okay.
Where I can still thrive and have like 3 years of really solid football, and then a steep decline from like 33 to like 34. I want it to all drop off in one fucking year,
You can't
man.
run anymore.
I get caught up in the parties. Kind of like a bit of a Luis Suarez meets Ronaldinho type of approach to the end of my career. Party life, and my body just deteriorates overall. But I get myself just one Liga MX trophy, and I get to celebrate it with my boyhood club, Chivas. Have that legacy of knowing that I played in both Mexico and at the greatest heights of Europe, like a Chicharito. I'd be so happy and fulfilled.
Yeah.
So that would be my journey.
Those first 3 countries, league-wise, is the path Brendan Aronson has taken.
Oh, you're right.
MLS,
USA,
Austria,
and then Prem.
Yeah.
That'd be very close to my path. Man. Very fucking close. Reynoso Aronson.
That sounds good.
That kind of works.
Hey guys, what's up? The Give and the Go podcast. You guys are amazing. I'm Daniel. So this is my sort of my hot take rant, whatever it is. I'm a Chelsea FC fan, and there's so much to talk about right now.
I hope he goes off.
It's so like infuriating just watching them play like so badly.
He's fed up.
Like against Southampton. How is that possible? And then basically like the daily life of a Chelsea fan nowadays is Thursday. You guys, you feel optimistic, like yeah, we're gonna win. Friday, optimistic. Saturday, you watch the game, and then it's like, okay, we got this, and then after the game's like, oh, we lost, and then you get like a interview from Potter saying like, oh, you just trust the process, and stuff like that. And then Sunday through like Wednesday, you just feel all bummed down, and then afterwards Thursday, and then you just repeat all over again. Anyways, I've actually always trusted Potter. I don't know what to do. Like, he hasn't been good. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, should Chelsea sack him, or should they not sack him?
Man.
That's the beauty and tragedy of football.
Yeah.
You get invested. You think your team can do something because there is talent out there. You've shown that you can win in the past. And when you look at the squad sheet every week, you're like, all right, we got this. This is a good team. This is a good club. We have a good manager. And then you lose the game. Then you lose.
Yeah.
But it's been like, what, 10 weeks of this,
Dude,
man?
it's been long.
It's been a long time.
When he went day by day explaining what he goes through, the hope he has on Wednesday and the depression he has by Sunday, really puts into perspective what Graham Potter's tenure has been for a lot of Chelsea fans. But I'm on the same boat as him, man. I'm going to ask you, what the hell is wrong with Chelsea, bro?
I think it's just a really tough situation to basically get together a group of players who are just literally bought by Chelsea to come together, and they have another manager who was just bought by Chelsea to try and manage this group of players. The overturn of players has been way too big, and there's just a lot of pressure, man. Now, why isn't it working? Well, it should. I don't understand. That's the problem.
You should beat Southampton.
Right. You should beat Southampton. So I understand the frustration, and I don't know if I have an answer as to why Chelsea are failing, but
Neymar.
This is crap.
Neymar's the answer, brother.
Neymar's the answer. But it's just crazy. It's crazy that it's not working. And if Potter does get sacked within this next month, bro, that'd be so crazy because, dude, he has the world at his fingertips, man.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of money Chelsea has spent under his coaching tenure at Chelsea, which has been very brief, he just shouldn't be failing this badly, man. He really shouldn't be. And if he does get sacked, he will be the next like David Moyes. David Moyes, who oversaw the most successful Everton that ever was back like a decade ago, the year that Sir Alex Ferguson retires. They hired David Moyes after a really good career at Everton as coach and get sacked that same season. And Potter having a very similar rise with Brighton, having a really good start to the season, having a very successful season overall last year, getting chosen by Chelsea to be the successor to Tuchel, and has yet to find any ounce of success. It'd be the same fucking story, and it'd be really sad, honestly, because where does Potter go from here, bro? Where did David Moyes go? It took him a long time to really get back to managing in the Premier League. I could see Potter, honestly, like taking a really long break if he does get sacked, because I don't know how you even recover from this mentally, man. This must be a nightmare for everybody. Obviously, Chelsea related, man. This is really, really bad. Do you sack him? I'm actually going to say no. I'm going to say no. I feel like every manager deserves at least 6 months. So I'm going to say, since you hired him, just give him the rest of the year already. There was a weird break because of the World Cup. It's been tough to come back for some teams. I guess Chelsea's just one of them, man. Give him the rest of the year. If it doesn't turn out the way you want it to come like May, then just look for a new manager in the offseason. But I say keep Potter for the time being.
Yeah, it's a really tricky situation right now because it's almost too soon to fire someone despite how bad they're doing. Yeah. It's just so fucking soon. World Cup break, and even now, I don't know if they debuted all the players that they've signed yet. I feel like half of them have played like meaningful games, but yeah, they're not getting results. They're doing really bad, and Potter is at the forefront of that. But man, I've seen clips of this team in the tunnel before a game, and it's completely dead. There's no chemistry amongst them because every week there's a new guy coming into the locker room. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who's gonna be here the following week, and Potter himself, like Daniel made a point to say, isn't much of a character, doesn't have much of a prominent personality, that I really do wonder how he how he manages egos. How does he manage a team that has players that are worth a lot of money, where in comparison when he was at Brighton was an egoless squad, man. Players that just played for each other. He had such a good system and foundation there, but at Chelsea, that dynamic is completely different. So I really do wonder how he is behind the scenes with one-on-one interactions. Beyond that, I just don't think this team has any chemistry off the field or on the field right now because of what I just said with new signings coming in every week. Despite that, though, I'm on the side that thinks he shouldn't get fired, man. It's way too fucking soon. Yeah. They did way too much in order to get him. The options at hand, if he does get fired, are just bad. Pochettino, rumored to potentially get in if Potter goes out. Rumors of Tuchel coming back.
That'd be crazy.
Maybe that'd be the right move, but that would still be crazy. To kick someone out like that and then bring them back in would be just so
Chelsea.
Would be so Chelsea. It really would. I think Potter deserves still more time. It's very frustrating right now, but I do think there will be a point for Chelsea where the amount of money they have invested will start paying back itself with victories, and you'll be able to look back at this phase as just a really weird couple of months and then a long string of Chelsea success. This is the last question.
Bengo, this is my hot take. Van Dijk's prime in the 18-19 season is comparable to the likes of Ramos's prime. That's my hot take.
I think it's a good hot take. Yeah, it's a hot take, but I think it's probably one of the best ones we've heard so far. Yeah. Van Dijk was top 3 in the Ballon d'Or rankings one year, and I think came in second, just short of Messi.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I don't know if we've seen another defender do that since then.
That's the thing. To double down on that.
Double down, brother.
That year, you had the likes of Firmino, Salah, and Mane going off, having probably one of the most lethal offenses in Europe, and you had Alisson between the sticks protecting Liverpool's goal. And yet still, Van Dijk was praised for every single performance he had as a central defender, right? That's really rare. You have an elite trio of attackers, a really good goalkeeper, and yet as a center back, you are getting heaps of praise. That's so impressive, so much so that, he got a Ballon d'Or nomination. So I don't even know if it's a hot take. It might just be fact.
Yeah.
It might just be fact because
it's definitely comparable.
It's definitely comparable.
Yeah,
definitely comparable. So, that's
lukewarm.
Lukewarm take. Yeah, absolutely, because Ramos obviously has been one of the most best defenders of the past decade. He was Madrid during that huge era in the mid 2010s where they just went back to back Champions Leagues, and so much so that even Ronaldo left before he did. Yeah. That's how much of a Madridista that Ramos was. So I think Van Dijk, even though his era has been a little bit less and a little bit short-lived, he definitely was completely comparable to Sergio Ramos.
Guys, thank you so much for sending your questions in. Really like doing this. It's always fun to hear from you guys and put a face to the beautiful viewers of The Give and Go. So thank you guys once again, and we will see you guys soon. Peace.